Jeez.
Welcome to our seriously spiritual podcast.
Not even remotely seriously.
We are your hosts. My name is Halina Schriefer.
I am Paul today. Paul Narus.
And we are here with my Christmas mug. What are we talking about today, Paul?
Oh, who knows? Today, we're talking about faith, and not in the dogmatic sense.
No.
But in the...
Maybe we'll reference it.
Well, yeah, it may come up. But
you never know.
Mostly we'll be speaking about faith in ourselves and our own abilities and why we lack it. Maybe.
I was going to get the whiteboard up. That didn't happen again.
Draw a sad face.
We'll just write.
Then we'll draw a happy face. And
yeah.
We'll just say something and then point to a face so you know what we're doing.
So I'd like to ask you a question.
Oh,
and this is one of my favorite questions to ask people. I have got like words that I like to ask people because I like to hear people's specific.
Words are good, otherwise I wouldn't
definitions.
understand.
What is faith? What is it?
In the dogmatic sense?
No, I'm like, what is your definition of faith? Like if you were to say
faith is
I
a
need
full
to have faith.
understanding of your own ability to achieve. Also, it can be used in a negative context. Your full understanding of your ability to fail.
Yeah. That's it?
It's a trust in an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I'm all for it.
All right.
I was listening to Eckhart Tolle, and he also used the word trust interchangeably with faith.
Well, that Eckhart
And I would
Tolle,
too.
well, maybe we should ask Dr. Joe or...
Dr. Joe Dispenza to be on our show.
No, just what his definition of faith is.
I'll get him on the show.
Yeah, we'll call
I've got
him
friends in
high places.
high places.
Isn't that a country song? Oh, that's
I've
low
got
places.
friends in low places.
Don't sing it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah. I mean, I would say a similar definition. To me, faith is, I guess the word knowing comes through. Like it's this, like, it's not necessarily anything that anybody's taught you. You can't really teach faith. Although I have a workshop coming up on faith at the Connection Cove, and that's what we're talking about today. Yeah, just stop listening because we can't teach you anything. But it's something that the soul experiences, so it has this inner knowing, and it doesn't necessarily have to have an explanation. Like, how many times, do I hear from people or experience myself, like, I don't know why, but I need to do this. I don't have an explanation. I can't point to this thing, but I know that I'm capable of doing this. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I know that I could do it. Or for other people, being able to perceive, you use the word achievement in other people, that it's that knowing, yes, this is it. This is the path.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we figured it out.
But knowing is more of the instinctual end of it. Whereas a trust in your ability to do it is something totally different.
Yeah.
We can have faith that our insights and intuition are guiding us correctly, but we also have to have faith in our ability to achieve what that is that we're being guided towards.
Yeah. How do you think we grow in faith?
There's a lot of different ways. I mean, because you can break it down into tons of different aspects in your life. Like, you want to be an artist, and you want to paint your own way, but you also want to be recognized as great at doing it. And you practice, and that builds that trust in yourself to be able to create those images the way you want to the way you see them. A lot of times, especially this happens with musicians a lot, it used to happen with me all the time, was I would have a song written in my head. I could hear it clearly, but I could not translate it outwards. And sometimes you'd stumble upon something else while trying to put it together in music, but most of the time you're never going to achieve what you hear in your head. And so that is a lack of trust in yourself to push through. To keep going till you hit exactly what you're trying to hit. Yeah.
Well, with that, there's a process that takes place too, like with the practice. Like if we know we can achieve something, like be a musician or some sort of an artist, and there's the process of getting to where we're envisioning ourselves going, that I found myself discouraged. I think it could be a tendency of us to get discouraged along the way because we're not quite where we want to be. Like there's a lack of patience for the process at times, but faith, I think, is also the endurance to get us to where we envision ourselves going. And in these points of our life where things maybe don't seem to make full sense to us, that a deeper spiritual faith is this overall knowing that everything in the universe is perfectly aligned. Right. That there's no mistake in me being at this point in my life right now in these circumstances. And there's levels of understanding that can be gained by coming into that faith, that trust, that knowing that everything is as it should be. It's like, I feel relaxed when I'm like, oh yeah, like, oh, chaos, like, oh yeah, everything's as it needs to be. Okay, now I can tune into my energy and what's available for me in this moment.
Well, I think that introducing the word comfort to this conversation is important too, because there are a ton of things we know we can get done, that we know we want to do, that we're either in the process or haven't started a process, but we know that we can, and that knowing is that guidance, and the trust is the faith. This is going to be weird, but that's like the procrastination aspect of things too. And I'll use a little analogy. I'm gonna embarrass my brother here for a minute. But he was always a wait to the last minute.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, well,
you could use me as an example.
No, but this is that the reason I use this one is because it specifically involves him. But he would know that he had no clean clothes for work, and he would wake up the morning and have to, let's say he had to be to work at 5. He wouldn't put his clothes in the wash until like 2. And then he'd throw them in the dryer about 20 minutes before he had to leave to work, and then go to the dryer when it was time to get dressed and go, dry enough, and then just put on wet clothes.
Yeah.
And that creates a level of discomfort in the situation. And there was no process of thought, well, maybe I should have gotten up and started a little bit earlier. But he had faith he could do it, but there was no follow through in the action.
Yeah, which is something we talked about in our first episode, is taking action. Like life isn't just going to happen for us if we are sitting around, oh, I have faith, all is well. But if we're not using actionable faith, moving forward in the direction that we see ourselves going, then what's the point of being on this planet? Why are we even here to begin with if we're not, and that's bringing in, religious teachings into this. And that was something that I felt misaligned with in a lot of my spiritual upbringings in the church, which was, there's all of this talk of, faith in Christ and do good works and all of that. But then I would witness myself and others outside of church. I was very involved in my church, and they would act completely different outside of church. Not that they would be like,
Murderers.
Let's go rob a bank. Not like that, but there was something different, that an inauthenticity within the church system, but then outside it was like, then it's like, okay, well, now we can do whatever we want. But if we're not actively connecting to our soul's path, then how strong is our faith to begin with? Like, if we're not stepping out onto the water, we're just sitting in the boat.
I think thinking about it in those terms, you'll say, like, without observing and just listening to what we're told, it comes down to that, in a sense, where, if you don't find what you want to do, if you never ask, you're always going to be at the command of others. And that does not elicit faith within the self in any way, shape, or form, except that you can do the bare minimum. And I'll use the religious example there, because a lot of people in society think, I get up, I go to church on Sunday or whatever day they worship, whatever religion. And those religions, though they teach and preach peace, love, and harmony, the underlying theme of all of them is to procreate. And then we think that if we don't search within ourselves for what we want to do, all we're supposed to do is be nice and make more people. And there's a biological reason for this in the church. I know it doesn't seem like the church can be biological, but it is. You have to think of it as a body. And it was initially about defense, like if we have more people in our faith, then our faith, the lands that practice our faith cannot be overtaken by lands that are practicing different faiths, and vice versa. It's
survival,
right? So if you don't step out of that weird world of thousands of years ago and try and find what you're going to do, you're going to get up, you're going to go to work, you're going to come home, you're going to procreate, and then you're going to repeat those processes every day for the rest of your life, except on Sunday, where you go to church and you tell everybody about how good you did at all of those things. And I'm not trying to bash the religious system here, but because I think it's an unconscious thing at this point. Even the preachers at the pulpit will tell you, or won't tell you, but they don't know what to tell you. Like, well, that's what the book says. Like, okay, that's fine. So if you don't go within, you're never going to break free of that habitual action or series of actions and actually achieve anything. And then what are you here for? What purpose does it serve if human beings' only purpose is to come here, do good work, procreate, and then die? What's the next generation for? To do the same thing. And what's the next generation for? To do the same thing. And so we're not looking at ourselves as individuals in those circumstances. Even though we are part of a collective, we don't recognize that collective half the time. So
I'm getting an interesting visual here of, so, we're born into this world as a whole. Like, this is, we use the word society. So I'll just use that word. So we're born into society where there is unity and wholeness, and we're all kind of doing the same thing. But then there's those of us that recognize there's something individual about me that's profound and different than what I'm seeing. So I'm going to step out of that oneness and find who I am, so then I can enter into the grander oneness of the universe. Like, that's the awakening process, where we are realizing that we are not just the societal conditioning. We're not just our jobs and families and all of that, that we are much more vast, much more holier than that. But we have to break out of that illusion that society instills in us, that it's built to do. Like, not to say like, oh, it's all evil, all that. Like, it's how the game is played. But we got to break the rules to understand the game, to then come into who we actually are.
Or you have to work within the rules, but see them from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, like, if you think about it, that's what the third dimensional existence as a whole is there's these set of rules that we tend to call, like quantum mechanics and things like that. And even if you don't believe in quantum mechanics, it doesn't matter. There's a structure that we would call the laws of the universe, and they exist in this 3 dimensions, but there are other places that we situate ourselves within other realms, like, and we can talk about parallel universes till the end of the time, or
that'll be another
like
topic. Yeah.
But if you this is what the true root of religion was, understanding that you're a part of this third dimension, that there's a set of rules you have to play by, but finding yourself an ability to escape that in the reality, to realize what there is outside of those 3 dimensions.
And faith is that energy
that guides you
yeah.
through that process.
There's your definition.
I like trust and I don't care.
Dramatic, awkward pause as we drink.
Did you like how sure I was in my definition in the beginning? I'm not changing my mind now.
So taking it down, so we're going like way out here, which is really, really beautiful. But so bringing it back into faith in the self and how we can practically apply this in small ways, and therefore like contribute to the grand orchestration of what we are all as spiritual beings creating together, that faith is something that can be practiced every single day. We go to bed, if we set our alarms, we've got faith that we are going to wake up in the morning, and that's a really beautiful thing. And then when the alarm goes off, how often, this morning I must have hit the snooze button a couple times, but like waking up is, oh my goodness, I'm in this body, like that's incredible. I made it through.
Are you trying to tell me that because I chose not to set my alarm last night, I was risking my life?
That's what I'm trying to... No, I imagine you had faith that you were going to wake up
whenever I wanted to.
The
one day a week I can wake up whenever I want to.
Making plans with somebody, like we are trusting. Right. There's so much trust and faith that goes into it, because not only are we trusting that we're going to be alive to meet with this person, but that they are also going to be alive, and that we're going to meet in the same spec in time and space. And so it's something that we unconsciously practice all of the time, but if we start to get more conscious of it and use it in a broader sense, not just, getting up, setting your alarms and all of that, but I trust that by the end of the day, I will learn everything I need to learn about this topic. Like that's something I do, every day. I'm like, I ask myself, what am I going to learn today? Or what do I want to learn? What do I need to let go of? And then I poof that out into the universe. And by the end of the day, I know that I will, it's over here.
Oh.
Yeah. So what are you doing? I trust that I will have all the information that I need for today on this intention that I set.
Okay.
Well, what are ways you practice with faith? Like, how do you interlace it?
I like to just utilize it.
Okay, say more.
No, that's all I got. I don't know. Faith to me comes up in the moments where I feel discouraged, honestly, and then I turn to that inner faith and I go, either you've been here before or you haven't, and you figured it out the last time, or you'll figure out something else this time. You know, the worrying part of it has to disappear, because that's where we get stuck. But I don't know. Sometimes there's different ways of approaching different things. So I like to just take things as they come. I don't plan for certain things. I don't choose a topic per se and poof it into the universe. I let the universe poof the topic to me at multiple moments throughout the day. So
yeah. Faith comes in when we're faced in the unknown, and as we break out of this sleeping state that is a part of the game, you know, what society has been structured to, it can be very difficult for us to step out of this unconscious state, because then we become aware that we don't know what's going to happen. Like we've built this illusion that, you know, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to go pick up my kids from school, I'm going to go to the grocery store. You know, like we've got it all figured out. But then that awakening happens, and it can be very jarring for people. But then we acknowledge that I don't know what's going to happen. But as we begin to grow and practice with faith, we don't need to know what's going to happen. We don't need to have intellectually a full scope of, okay, now this is what my life is going to look like. But our spirit guides us into this inner knowing that you don't need to know all the details. Just know that right now in the present moment, everything's okay. And then when the moment shifts, everything will be okay then too.
Yeah, because the details you may or may not be able to comprehend, and the details may or may not be your business, you know?
Yeah.
So there's no need to stress out about will this or won't this work. Just have faith that it will get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Because where you need to go is where the universe is taking you anyway. So
something I discovered for myself, and I've gone through many different transitions in these last couple of years, but in one of my early bigger transitions, I realized that I was stressing myself out with the details of the transition of, well, how's this going to work out this way, or and all of that. And it wasn't serving me. And I recognized that. So I just kind of stopped and I thought, is there any choice I need to make in this moment? If the answer was no, then I don't need to do anything other than be present, let the process take place. That's what I needed to focus on. And so that's what I coach others into when they're going through a transition, or, you know, oh, I got this job offer, you know, whatever. There's like a choice that's coming up. But if in this moment the answer isn't clear, then there's no choice to be made. And we can simply be present and learn about what our fears are in that moment. What are we concerned about? Or what's being taught to us? And that's where the work is. But then when we get to that point where a choice is ready to be made, the faith is, when I get to that point, I'll know exactly what to do. It'll just be a reaction, right?
Right.
Like we don't need a plan. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, how many of you have like conversations in your head of like, oh, I'm gonna have this conversation with this person, and here's all of the things I'm gonna say, and then you get there and you're like, is that why you randomly like make noises?
Maybe it's where the word fluster comes.
Fluster.
Yeah, I mean, setting goals is great, but making a plan sometimes is unnecessary. Sometimes making a plan is necessary, though.
Yeah.
Because if you're dealing with something that's more complex than just there's a vaguity to grand ideas, and then there's a linear path to mundane ideas.
Yeah.
So, say you need a car, you got to plan to have enough money for the down payment
Right.
or whatever, get the loan, find the vehicle, make the deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But like achieving like success in a career, you don't have to design that. You just have to set it as a goal and work towards it.
Yeah.
And have faith that you are capable of achieving that.
Yeah.
So we can separate those two things, but it makes those more mundane things like the purchasing of the vehicle example. It's just part of the grander picture.
Yeah.
But when we have a grand picture, a grand goal, little things are going to pop up along the way that need linear planning. But outside of that, you're just having faith in yourself to achieve.
Yeah. A question I like to ask myself and others is, why are we here on this earth? Like, what are we here to teach others? What are we here to learn about for ourselves? And if that is the end goal, then the details on how to get there can be many different ways, but we know faith teaches us that that is where we're going. And I want to introduce the words non-attachment, because if we plan out to the T all of the things that we're going to hit to get to that end goal, there could be all of these other opportunities out there that we're not accessing because our mind is so focused on micromanaging the path for us instead of surrendering to spirit to guide us as things change. And what I've noticed in my life is the path evolves. It's like in Harry Potter, they have these, they go up into the dormitories and
The what?
the dormitories.
Are you saying dormitory with a British accent?
Yeah, was that
Okay.
it? Did I nail it?
I have no idea.
Dormitories.
Just stop.
Okay. I need Caitlin's help on this one.
Yeah.
Anyways, they go and they walk up the stairs and they're like, oh, I'm going to my dormitory. But then the stairs move and they shift. Like there's, I don't know, I think it's the
Like
first
an
one, the
MC
Sorcerer's
Escher
Stone. Yeah,
illustration?
yeah. But then
Etching.
the staircase moves, but then it leads them on this other path that they end up, saving everything and da-da-da-da-da. But like, if we are so fixed in our way, then there's no wiggle room for spirit to play within the universe. But if we are present in every single moment and we ask in every single moment, where's my vision pointing at? What am I called? Oh, here's a situation that I'm presented with. Am I going to go with this fixed idea of where my life is headed, or am I going to start to explore and play with maybe something else is, over here that I can work with in order to evolve and grow and maybe create something grander than what my vision is capable of seeing right now. And I shared this story a lot, but like with Ordinary Pioneer, there's no way, like I didn't have how it is now. I had no vision of that. I thought I'm going to open up. I
don't even know what it is now.
I don't know either. It's fluid. It's growing. It's whatever it is. My vision was creating a yoga studio. After that, whatever, thy will be done. And
we put a stop to that real quick until next month.
I know.
Or next week, actually.
Yeah. What, all of our yoga classes?
Yeah.
We have a lot of yoga classes coming up in February. I think it's like 2 weeks.
Well, no,
Is
next week. We release and restore, yin yoga,
oh yeah, we do have a lot.
Yoga, then empowered yoga.
Oh yeah, you just did the newsletter.
You
just did the newsletter. I'm like, wow, all of this stuff. Yeah. So, anyways, but my point is that we can use our visions as breadcrumbs. So this is the direction that spirit is pointing me in, while being unattached of how I'm going to get there and if that's actually going to be what comes about into being. Because once I start going on the path in that direction, I may notice that other opportunities open up that start to veer me in another direction that is actually more suited and more expansive than what I was originally picturing. But faith is completely letting go of any expectation and allowing moment by moment for spirit to guide us to wherever it is we're going.
Yeah, and with the attachment part of that, I also want to point out that if you lock yourself into these things, if one of them goes wrong, like say one of them has something to do with someone else, and in the meantime they are no longer a part of your life, then what do? You're just
quit.
screwed. Step
quit.
3 is done. So you have to walk away at that point. If you're not malleable and you're not able to be sculpted by the universe and then sculpt it yourself, then you're going to continually be disappointed and continue to fail.
That was really beautiful. Sculpted by the universe. That's my takeaway from today.
And then sculpt the universe.
Well, yeah. You have to be sculpted first in order to be the sculptor.
Sure.
Got to be sculptable first in order to be...
You're done with the accent. You don't even know what that accent is.
No, I don't. I'm completely ignorant of languages. And
there's a little bit of Finnish in there somehow.
Well, let's finish now. Anyway, I don't think we meditated last time. I apologize.
We did.
We did?
Yeah.
Did we?
Did you not watch the video?
I don't remember if we did or not. I don't think we did.
Yeah, we did.
Did we? I'll have to watch it back. Recap. Anyways. We'll take a moment to settle into our bodies. And maybe there's different thoughts swirling around. And we're going to drop into our heart space. And I invite us to take a moment to experience the vastness of our heart space, full of all different possibilities beyond what we can even imagine at this point. Infinite. And then we'll drop into our solar plexus, the space of self-worth, where we hold our purpose and this trust in ourselves. And I want you to imagine your solar plexus just below your heart center, glowing brightly, filling up your whole being, and shining a light on your heart. And this action is a way of us telling the universe, I am willing. I am willing. I release these old parts of myself that are fearful, that are doubtful. And I step into who I am, trusting in the process, trusting in my purpose, that I may be guided. And together we'll take a deep inhale and exhale. Thank you, friends, for joining us. Thank you for clicking that like button.
Hey,
if you haven't,
I want to talk to you guys about the like button.
Click that like button. Yeah. Did you have more to say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, go on.
So, watch the video on YouTube, but then there's that like button. It's like a thumbs up. Please click it.
Don't
and
click the thumbs
if you
down.
have multiple accounts, go ahead and click it from all of them.
You do that too?
Yeah, of course. So
that's how you gotta do. You gotta trick the system.
Also, I want to stress the importance of sharing the video. Mm-hmm. We have grown by 1 subscriber in the last week. We would like to grow by more. So we'll discuss it, but maybe we'll talk about some incentives for subscribing.
Giveaways.
Stuff. People like stuff, right?
I made muffins today. I can give away some muffins.
What if they live in subscriber from California? Are you going to ship them muffins?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll ship those muffins.
All right, guys, here it goes. Muffins. If we can hit 200 subscribers by the end of January, that's 16 days away.
Everyone's getting
Halina's
muffins.
going to send the 200th person muffins.
Just one. No, I'll send a baker's dozen.
Yeah, there you
13. We also invite you, I imagine if you're still watching, you appreciate this content, and we give thanks for that. And also a way that you can contribute to our community at Ordinary Pioneer is to make a donation. It could be $1, it could be $2, it could be $500. It's whatever feels best for you. But this is a way to fuel our intentions here of bringing goodness and spiritual teachings and unity, teachings of unity out into the world. So that's an incredible and impactful way that you can support us by sending a donation into Ordinary Pioneer. So you can do that at ordinarypioneer.com.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh my goodness, we already said that. We can't repeat.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh my goodness.
And share the video. Ugh.
What? You don't like that
awful
sound?
sound.
Clunk.
The world is ending.
Namaste, friends. Much love.